Welcome, people.
Hi.
Kayla. Rule 34. I mean, I feel like you know me better than that. I feel like something I'd pull. My enemy number one, philosophically, is furries. I feel like they're a big part of Rule 34.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know what that is. Do I want to know what that is?
It's a sex thing.
Oh.
It's always a sex thing with the internet.
Oh.
The internet's always horny. Damn internet.
Damn.
Corrupting the youngins and the oldens alike.
The oldens.
Yeah. I'm pretty stoked for tonight's footage. It's all the way. The first one, 1985. The second one, 1992. A classic.
Ooh,
90s.
I was alive then.
Yeah, so maybe you'll remember this.
Probably not.
I know Kayla will remember it. But I don't want to spoil it too early. Yeah, Kayla's got it unlocked there. Anything, if you can imagine it exists, it does.
Strange.
I mean, even without the internet, if you can think it exists, it probably does, simply because, like, it comes from a human mind, and if you have the capacity to think of it, someone has before you, definitely, and it's probably cultivated a disgusting little cult around it.
Mm.
I mean, not necessarily. The cult can be wholesome. It doesn't necessarily need to be disgusting. It's just we're talking about porn here. Which is, by and large, pretty gross. And you wouldn't want it sitting on the dinner table.
Just
porn. All sorts of pornography is on the dinner table.
From the pornography store.
Sometimes watching this stuff makes me wistful for a fast-paced, whatever kind of job. I don't want to say blue collar, but like service industry. And I go, yeah, maybe for a couple hours. Then I'd be like, see ya.
Like a super part-time job. 4 hours on a Tuesday.
Yeah, like just to get a little of the feel of it, get a little of that speed back.
Like you'd want to work like the rush times, or just like,
maybe like half and half, like come in 2 hours before a storm, like
a 6 to 10.
Yeah, I'd have to like look at the charts, and obviously this is more calories burnt already than I'm ever going to put into it. But I would have to look and see like, hey, when's your fastest or your hottest hours? I'll be in here 2 hours before that and 2 hours after that.
Yeah.
Or, as soon as it's over, I'm out. Maybe I'll bounce. I'll be like, see you, suckers.
Done.
Porno. Yeah, I think that's a, maybe it's a regional thing, like Coke and soda and pop and all that.
That's funny because
Porno!
I was listening to a presentation with work today, and they were talking about language and communication and how there's, obviously different dialects, and they brought up the soda and pop and Coca-Cola, just like all the different ways to say certain things, and how people that have different like not diseases, I guess they are considered diseases of speech, like don't get all those, or they'll avoid saying those words because they can't think of them, or it was a weird, interesting presentation.
It's too bad we missed the interesting part. Maybe next time we'll find it. Let me get this closed, and we'll get this show
You're
started.
listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the
Welcome to the show. My name is Dave. It's Lingo Friday. We're doing another live show. Chris is over there on the couch.
It's a chair.
Chairs are, well, it doesn't matter. They can't see it anyway. It's a sitting utensil over there that she is occupying. So, what are we doing tonight? We're going to take a break from the true crime, the interrogation of it all. Although, I've got some good stuff coming up. What we're going to be doing tonight is some good old-fashioned training footage.
It's also good stuff.
It's also good stuff. So let's get. I mean, it's fine. It's just the true crime stuff. Like, the problem I run into there is like all the juiciest and or best interrogations are wild in time. So like 3 or 4 hours is not bad to sit through if it's just you and you're not stopping every 3 seconds to go on a 20-minute diatribe. I don't know if I could put people through that, but what we've got here is Jack in the Box training. Welcome to a winning team. I can't believe so. It's 1985, so I hope we get to see a lot of tobacco sunbursts and whatever. But we'll also compare and contrast this with Hardee's to see where the industry standard is, because also not for nothing either. As I was looking through my list of material for stuff to review, I kept forgetting that Jack in the Box exists. It's not anywhere I drive, and it's not something I think about. And when I come across it in the wild, or like I go someplace I don't usually, and there's a Jack in the Box, I go, oh yeah. But in high school, you'd be hard pressed to find me, outside of one at least 2 or 3 times a week, because there was one right down the street from the high school I was at, and we could walk there. But you could also order extra tomato and fling it out the car window at the people you didn't like frisbees. We didn't do that often, but it happened.
They didn't. There's not. At least when I was growing up, I don't recall a Jack in the Box in Connecticut. I don't know where.
It's so weird. Jack in the Box seems to be a very niche, or at least to me, from my personal experience. The type of people who eat Jack in the Box, I always put in a single category in my mind, because that's what humans love to do. And I compartmentalize it that way. I'm not a Jack in the Box eater, but the people who are, I'm always like, what? Because it's not one of the big two. Like, Jack in the Box always feels like, I'm sure what people look at me like when I'm drinking a Royal Crown Cola instead of a Coke or Pepsi. It always just feels like that third weird gray middle option. It's like the middle child that no one wants. But people do, man. I hear people talk about their tacos, and for a while they had those antenna balls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Jack in the Boxes are everywhere. It's just something that, after, when it was big, like that Jack in the Box mascot was like super popular. He was like, oh my God. That was when the bobble craze was hitting too. Mm-hmm. Like, we all had them. I was like 16, 17, right around that time, was hitting big. I had a bunch of them. Like, I would go there and I would get one every time I would go there, and I would line them up. Like, Jack in the Box was a huge thing. And so now it's not even a second or even a third or fourth thought to me. Like, Carl's Jr. comes up a million times compared to a Jack in the Box. So anyway, whatever. Here we go. It's 1985, so buckle up.
Food maker.
The world of Food Maker. Making food. To a winning team. It's such a weird way to say it. Look at that uniform. Oh my God. This feels like a blue Wendy's.
Yeah.
Look at that suit.
Welcome to Food Maker. We're proud to have you as part of our winning team.
What the VHS problems?
To be successful in our business, you need quality food, great customer service, and an attractive and clean dining environment.
Okay.
Those chairs.
I know this is for Jack in the Box, but the costumes, the uniforms are giving me strong Wendy's vibes, although dipped in blue. And the inside of this dining room reminds me of a Long John Silver's.
Never been to a Long John Silver's. It reminds me of, those chairs remind me of like diner,
Yeah,
like
they're
a
very like this is
country
steeped
diner.
in 80s tea. Like those chairs were everywhere in the 80s. Like I had family members who owned like this, or they'd wrap them in wicker sometimes. But yeah, oh my God, I would eat this shit up with a spoon. Like, given my druthers and an unlimited budget, I would have a house that looks like this exclusively almost.
But that
It
almost
also
like an
takes a
Applebee's.
positive
Oh yeah.
attitude.
Applebee's.
Where are we working this week? Jack in the
We're at
Box.
Jack in the Box, Joe. So get ready and buckle up because you're just in time.
On the part of all of us to maintain the high standards set by our company. These standards can be summarized in 3 simple words: quality, service, and cleanliness.
Really quick, I didn't have to, or I never chose to anyway, work at a place that required headgear. Like, the most embarrassing one, at least around me, is the hot dog on a stick franchise. And it was always attractive girls working there. And why not? Because like they knew how to market. They're like, well, gotta wear a stupid hat. Might as well put something in there that people like, dudes my age will flock to. And plus it's cheap. But goddamn, those stupid hats, even like an In-N-Out burger with their paper things that are a throwback, like those are, or like they even have like pseudo trucker and or baseball caps. Even those I feel are a step up from those poor hot dog on a stick people.
Cleanliness is their lowest priority. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, but it makes sense. And I'll explain why. First of all, the quality of the food has to be there, right? The service has to be there. Second, because you cannot serve, the quality of the food is not going to get to be served to the person without it. And the cleanliness typically emerges after, because you got to clean up after making the food and clean up after the fucking hog person bringing their 19 kids in to share a large fry and play in the play place for 4.5 hours.
QSC. Quality, fresh, and appealing food.
And
those
look
croissants.
at that,
Friendly and helpful
Jesus.
service.
Well, that's
and
like real
sparkling
food.
Clean
Yeah.
and pleasant surroundings.
So pretty.
Quality,
like
service,
tacky,
and
obviously.
cleanliness are what keep our customers satisfied and keep them coming back again and again, often bringing friends.
Look at that
This
chair.
leads to even more satisfied
They're bringing
customers
friends to
and
Jack
more
in the
sales.
Box.
It's up to you to maintain the
You.
Imagine if Mac from Mac and Me was like whisked away to a Jack in the Box instead of a McDonald's. Where would we be in that timeline, right?
QSC standards every minute you're on the
Better
job.
place.
You
Every
are the
minute.
host, and the customers are your guests. The way you prepare the food, serve your guests, and maintain the restaurant's appearance determines the customer's impression of our restaurants. Maintaining the highest possible standards of quality, service, and cleanliness is a big responsibility. We realize
Huge.
So off the bat, immediately, like there's a huge difference because we got a lot of SOP in the Hardee's material. It's like here, like, whatever, be nice to the customers, but here's exactly what to do in all these situations.
Yeah.
Like videos like this, all this training material that sort of focus on these pie in the sky concepts that don't have like any functional quality service, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, we all understand what those mean, but like, who gives a shit?
Right.
When you those don't mean anything until there are examples, until you have like when a customer does this, smile at them. Like, don't say, well, think about quality all day and night. What does that mean to the average numbnuts who's just walking into Jack in the Box, getting a job without necessarily knowing, like, intuitively what quality entails?
that. So, we'd like to give you some helpful tips that will make your job easier. Quality.
Let's do this.
Quality is what people expect when they go to any restaurant. Quality food, quality service, and a quality dining experience. When they come to our restaurants, they make no exception. Quality food starts with fresh ingredients. If something looks old or spoiled, don't use it.
Also, real quick, like, I want to get everybody who's watching or listening to this right now, even if it's in the distant future, right in the comments section, like your top 3 or 4, like top tier when you're thinking, or like put yourself in the mind of a child again. Like, what was the like, boom, top 4, like this was always the one we wanted, but boom, 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 boom. Like Wendy's was always up there. Jack in the Box never made my list. If we're going to say top 4. Like McDonald's was always one to throw in because the food was terrible, but the toys were great. But like I always wanted Burger King because the food was the best. And then Taco Bell when Burger King was not, spicy enough.
So, are we just talking fast food, or just like the Subway count as fast food, like those kind of
Whatever.
places?
I don't like if you could walk in and eat in under 2 minutes, ideally, like you're not sitting down and there's not somebody going, "Oh, can I help you?" That sort of shit. I don't care.
Oh.
It's going to be the same thing. But like, think about it, and what makes your list versus what doesn't, and why. Like Jack in the Box to me always just felt like ugh. But then again, maybe it just wasn't around, so pretty much the same. Yeah, okay. I feel like that's right. Right on the
If
money.
you wouldn't eat it, certainly don't serve it
Well,
to
and
one
Carl's
of our
Jr.
guests.
was like, that was always the king. I would love to get Carl's Jr. every goddamn day, but they didn't have any toys,
Oh, KFC.
which was a bummer. Oh, yeah, KFC. Yeah, so this is also going to be a
K-Town.
regional thing. I feel like it's going to rely heavily on where you grew up.
Boston Market, one of my high ones. I fucking loved Boston Market.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we got a reasonable facsimile of lists here. And yeah, I feel like it's going to be number one, pretty consistent across like your locality. So like if you had since Kayla and I had roughly the same four, our lists are probably going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, it's the same reason like your best friend was up the street. You just grow used to and then love the things that are nearby. And since, I'm sure it's no coincidence that it was a quarter mile up the street we had a Burger King.
Oh yeah, see, Joe's a Boston Market person too.
Well, you Boston Market people are fucking weird.
Oh my god.
It's our
Weirdos.
job to maintain that
So good.
consistent quality in all of our products and service. Quality also has to do with appearance.
Look at
Every
that.
item on the menu should be
Whoa.
prepared by the book in
Cooking.
a consistent and appealing
hell?
manner. When guests unwrap their
The
food,
napkin.
it should look as appealing as it
This
tastes.
doesn't look like Jack in the Box at all.
You are
No.
the key to the quality of our food. Take pride in your role as a food maker master chef. Service. Good service
Yeah,
goes
Tony,
hand in hand
there's
with
not a
high
lot of
quality.
Dairy Queens that have
Our guests
food around here, at least.
No, they do. It's just they don't advertise it. Like the Dairy Queen was not even on my list. It was not even on a list of like, I'll take it in a pinch. Dairy Queen was at the very bottom, right next to AM/PM hamburgers. Dairy Queen food, I don't know. This may have changed since I was a kid, but when I was young, my grandma from Glow would drive out, and sometimes, it would be that happy depression of she'd be like, "Hey, let's stop, go through a drive-through on the way because it's an hour and a half away from here. Get you some food." It's like, well, go Burger King, go this, go that. There was a Dairy Queen on the way, and I would go, "God damn it, what a Sophie's choice!" Because I go Burger King, I'll get a good toy and a good meal. But if we go Dairy Queen, I'll get a Blizzard and a burger that tastes like nothing.
Yeah,
It's gray.
there were some that served food. There's some that don't serve food at all, and that was the ones I was used to.
Yeah,
back
like the
east.
mall ones or whatever. Or like then you discover they have corn dogs or like here's the
Oh.
thing. I always had a weird relationship with Dairy Queen because it was expensive or something. It just wasn't on our radar. But growing up, there was this Mormon family that would always take their kids to Dairy Queen. They would take me with them. And so it would be like 2 adults and 11 children. And so they just get 13 of the cheapest thing on the menu. And that is when I was introduced to the dilly bar. And I was like, this is like, even as a child, I was like, this is like the S model of a car, the base, it was the entry level to anything ever, all wrapped up into one experience. And that was a dilly bar. If you know what that is, you know what I'm talking about.
Want fast, friendly, and efficient service, and our goal is to please our guests. To help meet that goal, here are a few proven service techniques.
All right,
Ooh.
some real techniques
No matter
here.
what your job is, always greet guests immediately.
Obviously.
They may not be ready to order, but at least they'll know that someone is ready to help, and they won't feel ignored.
Hi.
But if you're ready to order, get away from the counter, okay?
Right up to take your order.
No hurry, I'm still deciding, but thanks for your help.
I might pull my pants up another 8 or 10 inches. Oh, God, his
Get to
torso
know
looks so
our regular
short.
customers and treat them like special guests.
As if. Maybe this was different in the 80s, but this concept has come up before, and it is so long and hard to get even a passing familiarity.
Yeah.
Like, back when I would eat fast food, I would go to the same Carl's Jr. near my office a couple of times a week. But with fast food, the schedule is always changing. And if the people are there week after week, they take zero interest in you because every time you walk in, they're chatting in the back or they're watching TV on the fucking or whatever.
They'll want to come back, not only because they like our food, but because they feel welcome.
And I would, if I felt welcome, I'd come back.
Mrs. Thompson, where are the twins? They're not feeling very well.
She's not stuffing her bra today. It's pretty rude that she's bringing it up.
I thought I'd cheer them up by bringing them a surprise from their favorite restaurant. Oh, well, tell them I said hi and to get better soon. Thanks for asking about them.
What?
Treat
Sure.
every guest
Yeah, you want to do one of those numbers where like you look left or right, and you lean in, and you go, "You're my favorite."
as an individual.
extra
Be
napkins.
sensitive and try to anticipate their needs. Our job is to provide
What
quality
the
service,
hell?
not just take orders.
Really take this guy in for a second. Look at the length of these shorts right here. That is all leg from that down. And it is not good looking. I thought he was holding a stop sign like he was a crossing guard.
For a second, he looks like that stepdad from the Santa Claus movie.
Kind of. Carrie Elliott.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is his third time going out to racquetball. Like, he doesn't have the gear yet. He bought like a decent racket, but he's just like not sure if he wants to commit yet. So he's in really grubby gear, but his friend keeps bugging him to go. And he's like, I'll stop at Jack in the Box on the way there because I'm not actually committed.
And I gotta
Put
bring in
yourself
my
in the
racket.
customer's shoes
Yeah,
and
just
offer them
show
service
off.
even before they ask for it.
Well,
Insult the clerk.
That was a chicken supreme, a large
Yeah.
French fry, and a large Coke.
Right.
You look rather thirsty. Would you like your drink now? The rest of your order will be up in a minute.
Hey, that's a great idea. Yes, please.
That's a great idea.
Don't
I
they
can stop
usually do?
sweating all over your
Service also
counter.
means making that extra effort, taking that extra step to please our guests. This not only helps keep our guests satisfied, but it creates favorable impressions that can mean repeat business.
Here's your order. That's 1 hamburger, 1 jumbo jack, 1 small French fry, an order of onion rings, and
Hey,
2 small
yo.
Cokes.
Thank you.
Looks like you could use a little bit of help. Why don't you find your seat and I'll bring this over to your table.
If you see Benson and Stabler, tell him, yo, I'm working here.
I got deliveries.
I got deliveries to make the tables.
Thanks, I am kind of running out of hands.
Well, don't bring
Thanks,
your
Joe.
groceries into the fucking
As
Jack
you
in
can
the
see, a lot
But
of
they can't
common
get
sense,
warm.
coupled with a little extra effort, creates the kind of service our guests deserve.
You take this over there and I'll drop off your tray. You have a good day there, ma'am.
Just treat every guest the way you would like to be treated.
Excuse me.
No.
Thanks for bringing my tray to the table. That was really nice of you.
Sure, no problem at all. Please come back again.
Thank you.
The end.
Maybe try greasing the old pot a little bit, you
Cleanliness.
stingy old
Keeping our
bitch.
restaurants clean and spotless is essential to maintaining the image we
I'm
want to
ordering
project.
here.
Unclean is unhealthy. That's an image no restaurant can afford to have. It's essential that every inch of our restaurant
Those
be clean,
hats.
both
I
inside
would not,
and
like, again, this may be from municipality to municipality, but I wouldn't throw Jack in the Box as one of the cleanest or cleaner fast food places of memory. Like, even the Taco Bell we went to, it always smelled like fresh cleaning products. Like, it was bare bones and had that, like, awful early 90s color scheme for, well into the 2000s. But it always felt like somebody had just wiped the table or something. With Jack in the Box, it always felt like your feet were always leaving behind impressions in like an ever-present layer of grease that
Yeah.
after you left just sort of formed back into a straight surface, and like all your shoe prints and shit just sort of like oozed back into homogeneity,
out.
How come he gets a
Areas within
visor and
guest
the other
view
people only
should
have those
sparkle
weird
at
hats?
all times.
Again, probably
It's the
municipality.
responsibility of every team member to keep the work areas clean. Also, cooking containers and utensils must be clean and sanitized before being used. By doing your part, you will help to set a good example
What if
for
that's star
everyone
saying?
else. To ensure our quality, service, and cleanliness standards
Here's
are
a
consistently
checklist.
met in all of our restaurants, QSC
Jesus.
specialists make periodic inspections to let us know how we're
Ooh.
doing.
Look at that
But the real
wallpaper.
QSC specialists
Look at that
are our
light.
customers. If we get a
Oh,
high
I
score in
love
their
this
book,
shit.
they reward us with repeat
Somebody
business.
pictures.
Oh, and if you'll notice, this is our tennis guy. Look at him.
It's Neil.
Now that we see him in the front, like this guy is playing racquetball? I don't think so.
Business and increased sales. Quality, service, and cleanliness. 3 simple words with a great deal of impact. QSC is the foundation for food makers' steady growth.
We're getting
and
very
is helping
few
shape
actual
our
techniques
future
here,
success. By doing your part to maintain
God.
our high QSC standards, part of that
see
success
what Joe
can
said.
be yours.
Huh? Yeah. Okay. This is weird. I feel
There's
like we're
a lot
missing
to learn
pieces.
as new employees.
Yeah.
And at first, everything may seem a bit
The griddle
overwhelming.
timer.
Our
Oh,
restaurant-
wow. Look at that shit.
Wow.
Oh, my God. They have like a little cheat sheet here and everything.
So many buttons. It looks like the periodic table with all the different colors.
Yeah, everything. This is very similar to when I was working at Burger King, except like ours was all done laterally, but like you would have the meals and then like the desserts were color coded, the drinks were color coded. And, you know, this is just something you would have to just get used to. And you knew everything by color. And so you just like, I would memorize the whole board. I would just know where the clusters were. 'Cause it was never worth my time to like really drive home where the Hershey's pie button was. I would just go, okay, whatever. The blue is desserts. And then, you know, they would stand there and sometimes I would freeze and they'd go, where's my pie? And I'd go, I don't know. And I'd flip the thing.
Chaos is,
Fronts are divided.
wasn't that guy with the mustache in Chris Hansen's kitchen?
Let's see. Yeah, in the 80s, man, the mustache. I mean, the mustache always gets a bad name, but when you groom it within an inch of its life like that, it only. I don't know. There are so few things that you have to put so much effort in for them to be warning flags. Like if you just grew a shaggy mustache or whatever and just did whatever, let it go, or be like, okay, whatever. It's just a guy with a mustache. But you see that guy and you go, that guy put 4 hours a night into that shit. He is sinister.
Divided into workstations including prep, grill, fryer, and customer service. Although the person at each station performs separate functions, everyone works together as a team to ensure a smooth and efficiently run operation. There's an orderly flow of product from back
That's
to
a
front,
weird thing in a
from
bag.
storage to the prep
Ugh.
area, to the grill area where cooking and
To the
assembly takes
microwaving
place,
area.
and to the counter where the food is served to the customer.
Here's your bacon.
When someone in the system fails to do their part, the system
Like
breaks
these
down,
two.
and our customer service goals
Hello?
cannot be met. The result is unhappy customers and possible loss of business.
I'm going to Pizza Hut.
Everybody
Teamwork
has
also
a
involves being
collared shirt and a
helpful
sweater
supportive
over
of
it, even the
fellow
ladies.
employees. We all find ourselves under a lot of pressure sometimes, but a positive, patient,
Start
and
smashing
friendly
it.
attitude goes a long way towards making everyone's job
Try
a
yanking it
lot easier.
forward.
Oh,
Every
thanks.
job in a restaurant is an important one. No matter what workstation you are assigned to, it is critical that you perform your job correctly as well as efficiently. You will be scheduled for training.
He said
at
we
an
weren't
assigned
doing interrogation
workstation.
tonight, but some of these guys are totes creepers.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And like, that's the thing. It's so weird because like, because you look at this, right? And you go, where was the money? Like, if we say everything costs more, inflation, all this and shit, like, this is 1985. It's a Jack in the Box. Dude's wearing a 3-piece suit. They're all wearing like crisp white collar hats, like they actual uniforms. I was given like 2 greasy Burger King polos and I had to get my own whatever. Was there a profit margin difference? Like, I wonder what was lost between then and now. Like, where that it's almost like when you go to a fast food place, at least when I was young and like in high school, it was almost comical to see a McDonald's manager with like a tie and a button-up thing, because you're like, hey, ease off, you're at a McDonald's. And I feel like maybe that like just wasn't always a thing. Like at some point we must have had respect for each other as humans before we just started calling each other grease monkeys or whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe that's it here. It's just like everybody still seems to be like on the same level. I don't know. There's something about it that we've lost. And I'm interested to see your comments about it because I can't put my finger on it, but it's something.
First, your trainer will explain
You're
what
right,
is
Caleb. They're
expected
cooking
of you.
without gloves.
Next, you'll have the opportunity to watch an experienced employee working.
If you ever saw gloves on a fast food employee, they brought them from home, and it never happened.
The
That's
station.
my
You
experience.
will then study the proper workstation procedures.
Look
in
at
your
that
cooking
binder,
book training
Jesus.
Manual. In the last step of your training, your restaurant trainer will show you each workstation procedure
Yeah.
and provide you with time to practice.
Did it.
We don't expect you to do everything perfect the first time, so if you have any questions or don't understand something, be sure to ask your trainer. The skills and knowledge you gain through training are the stepping stones to your future success and advancement. Your
Within
on-the-job
Jack in the Box.
performance will determine when you are ready to move ahead to another position.
Oh my God, really quick. Look it. They have like spare jackets and shit. Like at one point, like is somebody going to be like, Steve, that big thing we thought would never happen is happening. Do you have more than one blazer in the office? And he's like, of fucking course I do. This is Jack in the Box.
Your manager will evaluate you
The quality of
periodically
food
to let
appearances
you
went
know
down
how
ever
you're
since
doing.
Mayor McCheese lost his last election.
I'm saying like that's, whatever, that's a joke, but it lends credence to my earlier theory is like without actual people like Dave Thomas, Colonel Sanders, etc. It like, because Ronald McDonald is a fabricated thing. It's a costume that passes from person to person like an STD or like it follows. But like Dave Thomas and Colonel Sanders and everybody like Carl Harding of Carl's Jr., when they were alive and kicking, they had a vested interest in not looking like crap.
Right.
And so when you go, okay, the face of the company is now a star, it's now a clown, it's now a picture of a redheaded girl. It's like, well, who gives a fuck? Like Dave Thomas would have taken a personal slight if someone were like, Wendy sucks.
Yeah.
But what's the Dairy Queen going to do? What's Ronald McDonald going to do?
Well, yeah, they're just going to be like,
Promotions
okay,
and pay increases
people just
are
assume
based
you're still going to eat there. Like, regardless of.
Right, but I'm saying like when there wasn't someone, and that's the thing, it needs to be someone. If there isn't someone carrying that torch with integrity, they're not a fast food mascot. They like a high tide lifts all ships. So if one gets good, they all have to get pretty good. But like even the best ones, they're like, I mean, the best ones today would have been barely passable in the 80s here.
Yeah.
Like all the, whatever, how you feel about Chick-fil-A, they're always courteous to a fault. Whereas everybody else is like, who gives a fuck? Order something to get out. I don't know.
on how well you perform. If you exhibit the willingness and necessary skills, you could be selected to enter the Shift Leader Training Program.
You could be a
From there,
manager
you
of
have the
sorts.
opportunity to advance to assistant manager training. Foodmaker likes to promote employees from within. Many of our managers started as production employees, just like you.
So I wonder, Foodmaker must be the Jack in the Box home company, because like when I was an electrician, a lot of scales dropped from my eyes because I did a lot of work for like the sit down restaurants that I always held in such high regard over fast food places. And everywhere from Applebee's to Olive Garden to Red Lobster, Baja Fresh, or not Baja Fresh, but like any sit down restaurant that you think is like middle tier, it's basically owned by one of two companies, and all of their food is delivered the night before in like a big frozen pallet that they have to chip apart in bags and boxes and shit. So it's just funny that Foodmaker, not a great name, at least like the Darden Corporation that owns Red Lobster and all these other like mid-tier sit-down places, like it sounds like, oh, Darden Corporation, like that sounds like there's some people wearing suits. Foodmaker just feels like there's one dude who's like sort of greasy with a stained white apron, with like always a greasy butcher knife on a table somewhere around him.
Tony goes, how about you train me on this job before throwing promotions at me?
Negative. That's the thing about this material versus the Hardee's one, is like there's very little actual tangible usable material. It's just, again, like these sort of
general.
It's almost like the self-help or like those positive memes of Facebook. It's just like, hey, when you work here, everything's cool. We're family. Be nice to one another. It's all these like bullshit. Like don't tell me that shit. Be like, hey, here's standard policy and procedure because that's what we're going to have to fall back on.
Yeah.
Rules and regulations. They're part of our daily lives. From our home life.
Sure. You can stay out past midnight.
As
You wanna
if.
be grounded for a month.
Oh, there we go.
To our working environments.
Couldn't find like actual footage of her saying that.
We also have some rules, policies, and
man.
guidelines.
One thing I do miss are these lovely time clocks. My first job had a time clock. It wasn't this old school, like it was electronic, but we had definitely one of these, and you would pop it in, it would pull it all the way down, it would make a whole bunch of weird, like, 70s sounding computations, and like shoot it back up with the thing printed on it. But it always looked like it was run by a gas motor and it was going to pull itself off the wall.
Yeah, I had.
They've
That
been
was my
created
first
for
job.
our
I had
own
one too.
benefit. By following them, we make the restaurant a safer and
reminds me
more
of like a
pleasant place
Disneyland.
for ourselves
Ceiling
and
fans.
for
Yeah,
our
the
guests.
aesthetic is
Your
complete.
trainer will go over some of these rules in more detail,
My favorite.
explaining that failure to follow them can result in
Those
disciplinary
buns.
action or even termination. Remember that rules serve an important
Too much rouge.
purpose
You look too
and
much
are
like
for
Wendy.
everyone's
Yeah.
benefit.
From Wendy's. You're
At
fired.
Foodmaker,
At first I
we
thought it was
dress in
rosacea,
attractive
but that is
uniforms
definitely
that are designed
not.
to enhance our restaurant's image.
Now, look at the pinstriping on this pant leg. Not for nothing, they aren't kidding. Like, this is 80s fashion. Like, people wore this type of bullshit recreationally. Like, this isn't a uniform that I would be embarrassed to have had.
Dressing
Yeah.
for success is one way to put your best foot forward in any business.
Of course, if you were really working, like, you'd have a bunch of dark, greasy stains and stuff because fast food gets you covered in shit almost immediately.
As times change, so do our uniforms to keep up to date with current fashion trends. The company will provide you with everything that a well-dressed employee needs, from jeans to shirt or blouse to apron, name badge and hat or
Oh my God, let's look at that lady's name again. Woo.
with everything
Where is that? Oh my God, then we go right
Blouse.
to...
apron, name
Whoa! Diana!
Diana.
I mean, obviously it's Diana, but fucking tone it down. Why did your parents hate you?
badge and hat or visor.
Diana?
Accessories such
I'm
as
a Gara Harry.
protective aprons, goggles, and
Joe
safety
agrees
gloves
with you
must
about
all
the whole needing a Dave Thomas or
I'm saying, like,
whatever.
it would take somebody with a vision, like how Dave, like, because I mentioned Dave Thomas and Colonel Sanders because they were very closely related. Like, one basically springboarded from the other. Like, Colonel Sanders got his footing. Dave Thomas was like one of his top dudes, and that started that benchmark of quality.
Mm-hmm.
So it would take somebody new coming in and or somebody putting themselves basically on blast. Because, like, who's going to tweet at Ronald McDonald and be like, your food sucks and your lobby is dirty? Nobody, because no one gives a fuck. And even if he did give a fuck, he's a nobody. He's somebody in a costume. We need another Dave Thomas to save fast food.
also be worn
Maybe
to
we'll come
protect
back
you
to it.
while performing certain cleaning tasks.
P.S. This is like meth making and or body turning into soup type clothing. And a Jack in the Box, chill out.
You must provide your own shoes.
Bring your
keeping
own
a few
wingtips.
important guidelines in mind. They should be dark-colored, low-heeled
Yeah.
with a non-slip sole, closed-toed, and above all, comfortable.
Every time I came in with high heels, they would send me home.
High heels and platform shoes are out. So are open heels or fabric shoes. All are either unsafe to walk in or don't provide enough protection if you drop something on your feet.
And think about this too, like, because everybody wants to like be rebellious or whatever, because it's just innate in human nature to be like, if there's a rule, you want to say, fuck it. And there's some people I worked with who would buck the rules and try to get away with shit, but I was like, to what end, bitch? Like, if one of them came in with like socks and sandals And they're like, don't tell anybody. I'm like, number one, it's obvious because everybody can see your feet. But good news, nobody looks down there often. But since everything here is popping and sizzling with grease, and I'm constantly getting sprayed in the face and arms, like, how do your feet intend on making it through this shift? And oftentimes it didn't.
We can dress you up, but we can't make you look clean and healthy.
Wash your
That's
face,
department.
goddammit.
Remember, you're a representative of the restaurant and our company. How would you like to be served by a person who looked like this? To meet safety and health regulations, the company has certain appearance guidelines we all must
Hilarious.
follow. Your hair must be neat, clean,
And thinning.
well-groomed. It must never extend below the bottom of your collar.
What?
Sideburns must be kept short, at or above the bottom of the earlobe.
Okay.
Mustaches are acceptable, but must
be creepy and really wispy and thin. Either blonde or red. No brown, please.
be neatly trimmed at the lip and above the corner of the mouth.
Oh,
and as far as beards go,
fuck it.
they don't.
Get
Not
out.
in our restaurants.
Disgusting.
Clean hands are a must in any restaurant.
Just look at these bleached monkey's paws. Every time you make a wish, a finger curls and one of your family members dies.
To prevent
Welcome to
germs
Jack
from
in the
being
Box.
transmitted. Always wash your hands thoroughly whenever you use the restroom or
Oh,
return
look, the soap changed the color of their hands.
from a break.
Weird.
Keep your hands away from your hair and face when working.
Yeah, good luck.
Also, keep your nails trimmed and well manicured. Simple jewelry can be worn, but dangling necklaces,
Not
earrings,
simple
and
enough.
bracelets can be hazardous, so save them for after work.
The after party.
Hey, you're looking pretty good. Now let's move on to some other rules. that
Hella
help us
nice.
maintain
A young Paul
professional
Rubens
work
takes the
environment
stage.
around the restaurant. When you are working at the restaurant, you should be concentrating on your job, so no distractions. Eating, drinking, smoking, and gum chewing
No
are
chewing
not allowed in the
gum.
kitchen or service areas.
Like, it's so funny that these are considered distractions, where nowadays, like, there's a zillion different ways. Anywhere you walk into nowadays, 60% of the employees are going to have AirPods in at least one of their
Right.
ears. And so now we're like, oh, yeah, don't get distracted by drinking something.
God forbid
no
you
personal
chew
phone
gum.
calls unless it's an emergency. Visiting with friends and off-duty employees is not allowed when you're on the job.
People will try to
Idle
get around
conversation
to other
interferes
tables.
with the restaurant
We
business
don't want
and
that.
is against the rules. Your manager carefully schedules employees so the right number will
Look at these names. Juliane. There's good old Ed. Mary Jo. Laura Giovanna. Where's Diana? Got fired.
Yep.
always be there to meet the needs of our guests.
She was chewing gum.
It's important that you work
She
your
got
scheduled
fired.
hours. Always be on time and only take breaks when you're directed to do so. Vol-
I'm going to tell you, maybe this is your experience, maybe it isn't, but the more you make, the less people care about what the fuck you are doing. I did not have anybody so scrutinized every second of my life than when I was making $6.10 an hour. My first job, $6.10, and I thought, oh my God, whatever. I'm making money, so let's see how this shakes out. $6.10. I worked at a kids' amusement park. My buddy got me a job there. He was like, he had some clout, like he'd been there a while. And after like a month, I had gotten a raise and then been promoted to team lead above my friend who'd been there for 6 months already. And everybody got pissed off. But after 2 raises, I still hadn't broken $7 an hour. And I was given keys and the ability to dick with time cards and stuff. When do you make it $7?
Following these simple
Oh,
rules
how
makes
times have
everyone's
changed
job
in
easier
57
and enables
years.
us to provide better customer service.
It's the old days.
Sometimes schedule adjustments can't be avoided. If an emergency comes up at the last minute, be sure to notify your supervisor immediately so someone can be called in to
Make
take
sure
your
to put on your thickest fur-lined denim
place.
coat.
And when you need time
Your
off
manager
for
will be able
special
to hear it.
occasions,
So many
let the
binders.
manager know as soon as possible so that arrangements can be made.
He's still
In
trying to
order
grow that
get paid,
mustache.
You must punch in and out on the time clock.
Oh,
The time card must indicate the exact hours
exact. Don't want to
you
be
work.
a
We also
time
have
thief.
some rules regarding your personal safety and security. Since you're our greatest asset, we don't want anything
What
to
the-
happen to you. Here are some security guidelines that have been set up for your protection.
Invisibility.
At night,
Yeah,
Before
try not to
leaving the
blink out of
restaurant,
existence.
check the parking lot and surrounding areas for anyone who appears to be watching the restaurant. If you notice a suspicious person, remain inside and notify your supervisor.
Who probably isn't there.
At all times,
Well, real quick, like, you know, that not for nothing. I'm surprised they're saying that because I had a friend who worked at McDonald's and he was a manager, and we went in one night late just to like dick around and have some ice cream or whatever. And in stumbled this drunk ass guy with like, maybe you have these around you, maybe you're not, maybe you don't. But here, like, we have a bunch of Mexican restaurants like Filiberto's or Emberto's or Rigoberto's or whatever, but they always have these tiny little plastic cups of red and green salsa, real liquidy. And dude rolls in, sits down, drunk as hell, and starts like popping these little tiny hot sauce cups that he was pulling out of his pocket. And he was getting like crazy belligerent. I'm like, whoa, what do we do here? And like, it's so funny that, because like, given a bit of power, people will really fill out the role. Whereas like my buddy who before was just like, you know, one of my high school jack off friends, like all sitting with us as we, you know, at midnight, he like got up, straightened his manager shit, and fucking kicked that dude the fuck out and was gruff about it. And he's like, if I see you on this premises again, I'm calling the cops.
Damn.
And I was like, oh my God, John, are you worried that guy, John, he was the guy. I was like, are you worried he's going to come back and like fuck shit up? He's like, no, people do that shit all the time. I'm like, Jesus.
day
Wow.
and night,
I couldn't handle
keep
that
the
shit.
back door locked. After dark, leave the restaurant by the front door.
Bye.
Closing
out for
time,
murderers.
always leave with another employee. Never
Always nervously look about, peer around, and fear for your life. It's a very scary place to be at Jack in the Box after it closes.
leave alone.
I mean, that one girl left by herself.
Follow these common sense rules, policies, and guidelines, and you'll have nothing but smooth sailing ahead.
I mean, within the Food Maker Corporation.
When I was a new employee, I was shown the safety film that you were about to see. That was a long time ago, but what I learned from that film still means a lot to me in my job.
So we haven't
today.
changed it at
Watch
all.
it, and you'll see what I mean.
I want to see somebody get pulled into the shake machine.
To a Jack in the Box store near you.
What?
Deadly Dangers.
How old is Jack in the Box? This looks like a 50s grindhouse movie. Jesus.
So incredibly ordinary, you think it could happen to you.
This feels like not a Disneyland Haunted Mansion ride, but like a second tier theme park haunted house type thing. It's like not Vincent Price, but it's like someone else they could get for $20 who
Yeah.
like I could probably do it.
You'll thrill to the unknown terror
Michael Myers
of
is gonna
poor
kill this dude.
security and the deadly dangers
Duh.
that lurk just outside the back door.
This is Sleepaway Jack in the Box. Oh, here comes the murderer.
Oh, hey.
This is about safety?
Always leave the door
It's
closed.
E.T. Totally different color scheme on the uniforms, but
Yeah.
again, this is an older film. I mean, take your time, dude.
We have to keep this door locked. It's our best hope of security.
But security alone isn't enough.
Well, something else must have been out there to keep that dude away, right? We saw his shadow. He was menacing the door.
Right.
What's the secondary measure?
Uh,
I want to know what that is, Jack in the
Well,
Box.
there are other deadly dangers already
Mopping.
inside the store.
Careful, Ted. The floor's awful slippery.
If you walk on a wet floor, I'll fucking kill you. And she pulls out a switchblade and she starts stabbing him. Deadly employees.
Footed as John Travolta.
I
What?
think flatter heels would be a lot safer around here.
Oh, God.
Hey, it's style that counts to me.
Hey.
Well, at least you better walk flat-footed till the floor dries.
I've got Saturday Night Fever, bitch.
Whoop.
Jack in the... Oh, my spine!
The napkins.
Cringe in horror at
Whoa.
the whims of the
It's a lot of
insidious
slicers.
tomato slicer.
Jesus.
Here, Ted, you better use this safety towel. This thing can really hurt your fingers.
Don't worry, Tina. My way's easier. Quicker, too.
What? That's his reaction? He got his hot dog stuck in the tomato chopper. Who left this box here? Back pain can strike anywhere.
You may not know it, but you're flirting with a deadly danger. But me? Let me show you how to lift this without injury.
You're kissing the lips of death every time you bend down to pick up a box, you stupid bitch. Watch me do it. Honky.
Bring your back. For safety's sake, use the strength of your legs, not your back.
Carl, it's napkins. It's just napkins, man. Go easy on me. Just for one fucking day, Carl.
It's just ketchup.
Jesus.
Safety's for suckers. There's nothing wrong with my back.
Did you see my ass just fall on the slippery You can't give me a fucking break here? God damn it. Hey, that's the same box. Did he put it right back down?
Yeah, but he was like, here's me.
He's like, look, bitch, live with your legs. Now you try. And it's like the 12 Trials of Hercules, except this dude's a fucking idiot. He's going to fall again.
There's something wrong with my back.
And there's even more.
I just farted.
He's 40 years old. Look at this dude.
Wow.
Something's happening. He's the, oh God, every one of these videos always has like a fuck up employee. They all have different names, so I can't pull it at the moment, but he's like the Gerald sort of.
Flirts with
Oh, look at those disgusting tacos they make.
Terror.
Oh, he becomes the Two-Face of Jack in the Box.
Tina, did I ever tell you about the time I jumped my motorcycle over the Caspian Sea?
How is he still allowed to work here?
You better watch yourself, Ted. Those fires
Jack in the
have no
Box
place
was
to go.
founded in 1951, says
Jesus
Tony.
Christ. So yeah, this is probably like, I'm not going to say 50s. It's probably like 1971, but still. But look at this. How is it, like this is a fucking, not Naked Gun, but this is a Police Squad bit. What the fuck? He's going to be a, oh, come on.
And just when you think you've seen it all, the bubbling fryer threatens to bring down the house.
It already took his hand.
Oh no, the tacos.
We reached flash temp. My guess is, we're going to get to it. I haven't seen this before. My guess is Numbnuts with his burned hand and all of his DME is going to come in and throw water on that shit and burn his face off. Norbit. Sweaty Murphy. Sweaty because of all the fire. Look at that. Okay. So this obviously predates 911 because look at how many numbers that is.
Yep.
She's like, oh my God, I have to type in all 9 numbers. I wish we had a quick 3-digit thing going on. Closed for the rest of the day.
Oh!
Don't you know water only spread a grease fire? Ted, pull the O-ring for the fryer.
No, I'm gonna fill the water on like I was intending to.
Why didn't they do that first?
Because those things are expensive.
If you have a weak heart or dainty stomach, there are only 3 ways to cope with deadly dangers.
Yeah, those insane multi-level Jack in the Boxes. Hey, Steve, can you run up to the bell tower and pick up some more shredded lettuce?
Be aware. Be alert. And always be prepared.
This is directed by what's-his-nuts, Tarantino.
Don't wear fucking heels to work.
Maybe
He's dead.
Use the handrail, moron, when you're trying to go upstairs to the top of the Jack in the Box.
to a Jack in the Box store near you.
You'll die.
The
safety
dainty
of our
stomach. Yeah, me either,
employees and
Caleb.
guests is of primary concern to the management of our company. That's why we just showed you the Deadly Dangers film. Even though the film is an older one, it still effectively illustrates some very important points.
Kind
the more
of.
information you have about safety, the more accidents can be prevented.
But did
And a
you
very-
die?
There
Nobody
wasn't
died.
any information, right? Though we just saw a bunch of stupid people willfully doing stupid things. It's not like they were bereft of information. It's
Right.
not like the dude who sliced his finger or the same dude obviously was doing all the same shit. He had the information. His coworkers were like, do this because it's safer. And he's like, sit and spin, motherfucker. And then he like got workers' comp claim after workers' comp claim and got to come back. The fuck?
prepared you will be when
Yeah, the box is the coffin.
something does happen.
So edgy. That's so metal. Jack in the Box. Imagine instead of a regular box, it's a coffin. So metal.
It's much easier to learn the procedures and guidelines now than to try and
Before
learn
you
them
die.
when an accident occurs.
We didn't have the budget to re-record, so we're just going to show it again.
As part of your training, review the emergency procedures contained in the cooking book.
She looks like she's trying to hide black eyes from an abusive spouse.
Yeah, I'm
You
not
should
a
refer back to
fan
them
of
from
her
time to
blush.
time to keep them fresh in your mind.
So thick. Who's
To
going
ensure everyone's safety, and when handling an emergency, be sure to stay calm, use common sense, and follow proper procedures. We've set high standards.
That's the thing that I think most people, just can't do. I've witnessed a country mile of like tense or emergent situations in which the people who are the most prepared are often the least calm. And so everything just sort of goes fucking bananas. Like, when something arises quickly and you feel like time is moving a mile an hour or not, 100 miles an hour, it's actually not. It's still moving the same speed. So if you stay calm, you'll spend a lot less time like floundering and fucking up. No matter how well prepared you are, if you can't stay calm under, scrutiny, pressure, or whatever else happens, it doesn't fucking matter. Like all the people, like we all heard stop, drop, and rolls as kids, right? We grew up with stop, drop, and roll. How many times have you seen like on Fail Army or even like America's Funniest Home Videos if you're old enough, people catching on fire and running around as people are shouting at them, stop, drop, and roll, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Like since they got put out, we got to laugh and they're not a crispy charred corpse in the ground. But what good is saying stop, drop, and roll if you can't fucking chill out?
For quality, service, and cleanliness.
What we should be saying to each other is
Standards
quality
designed to
service
please
and
our guests
cleanliness.
and meet our goals. We've learned the rules, from proper appearance to professional work habits and personal safety.
No murderers, bye!
We now have the knowledge to be the best.
Haha!
The rest is up to you.
Zombie! Ah!
Welcome to our winning
Imagine
team.
walking into your fast food restaurant and 8 people going, welcome! And you're like, oh, fuck, and then leave. Just leave.
No, but like, here's the thing. I always sort of skew everything just always being hot because living in Arizona, I just assume that it's always going to be hot. But beyond that, even if you're anywhere in the country, you're going to be around things that are constantly on fire or shooting heat out or frying something or keeping something warm. So the fact that they put those poor managers in a 3-piece suit and then to shoot them as if they're not going to sweat their asses off because they're going to be running around filling orders, like salt will be everywhere and in their eyes, they'll be sweating through all those layers. Like, what a fucking miserable experience. Like, we have to walk that line between looking professional and just torturing someone needlessly.
That's why they had a t-shirt underneath their suit. It was like a t-shirt button up. Or short sleeve, I should say.
Heartbreaking to watch that. Hey, did I make this? Food maker. Okay, so now that that's over, Kayla, buckle your seatbelts personally because I found this and I was like, yeah, we've got to do this. It's not related to fast food. It's a little bit older, but it's for a product that you've got a very strong tie to.
It would be nice
It's
to
the
look at
Uncola.
a crystal ball. Through the years, our success at Pepsi has been built on understanding what consumers want.
P.S. When it comes to Crystal Pepsi, What do you think they're going to be training us on? Stocking? Display? Sales tips?
Pouring into the bottles?
Because, like, I'm getting no strong feeling for any sort of a training theme as of right now, because we're just seeing a bunch of people enjoying Crystal Pepsi.
And what our customers need. The right product, the right place, at the right time.
You got the right one, baby.
Today, consumers are looking for lighter, more refreshing beverages.
Wow, look how old Lipton
They're looking
is.
for variety, looking for change.
Looking
Our
for
customers
slice.
are looking for a product mix that will add.
Oh, man.
Not
Speaking
adding
of...
caramel color.
Yeah, speaking of, I happened to be at my first job when Slice became Sierra Mist, and it was a wild ride for yours truly. Because we went from one day, because the place I worked at was Jeepers, formerly Jungle Jim's Playland. So it was a little indoor, play place. We had 10 rides, an arcade, and a little Pizza Hut inside. But we had, I at least had access to unlimited soda. And I was like, man, whatever. I was a Pepsi man because that's what we had in Pepsi products. But when Sierra Mist stickers came in and we replaced Slice with Sierra Mist, we didn't replace the orange Slice yet. I don't know what happened with that. Don't give a fuck. Just got those new stickers in. And I thought, yeah, this tastes so much better than Slice. It's hands down a better product. When I guarantee nothing was changed. I don't know that for a fact, but I feel like they sent us a new sticker and sent us the same clear syrup in the bags every other fucking time they have. And I went, yes, I am a consumer and this is a higher quality product. I can feel it. There's mist in it. It obviously comes from the Sierras. It is no longer like the quality went from being a fresh slice of something to being mist from the Sierras. And I was sold.
Nice.
Add to beverage sales and bring traffic to their stores.
RC Cola.
But look at industry trends. Sale of traditional carbonated soft drinks is slowing down. There's still a big market, but it's not growing as fast.
Really?
As the total beverage company, we know the right product may mean new products. So we've decided it's time to make one thing perfectly
When did they become PepsiCo?
It's Crystal Pepsi.
Whoa.
And the time is now. There's never been a product quite like it.
We've had products exactly like it, except we took the brown out. So I kind of lied to you there. Sorry about that. Let's get on with the video.
Crystal Pepsi. A whole new cola experience.
We took the brown out, people.
A different kind of soft drink with a unique cola flavor. The clear choice for Pepsi.
I don't remember
and our customers.
A difference in flavor, but I'm also bad at
Crystal
memory.
Pepsi is an important part of our total beverage
I've never had it,
inventory,
but I don't
and
drink
it's
soda,
sweeping
so.
the nation. Why? Because Crystal Pepsi is a cola, and America
It's
loves
a cola.
the cola taste.
I want to say that the cola color is derived from the cola nut, which is where they get that caramel flavor initially, I imagine. But, since we're in the 90s now and everything is produced artificially, what is that? I'm sure they're not using nuts anymore. Like this ginger ale, like does Canada Dry actually use real ginger anymore? Or have they since this? I don't know. What can brown do for you?
For more than a century, generations of drinkers have consistently chosen a cola as the perfect drink. It's
Which cola? We're not going to talk about that, bitch. This is Pepsi. Don't fucking say Coke to us.
Pepsi. When it comes to cola, nobody does it better. Crystal Pepsi builds
Debatable.
on our reputation and our trademark. It's the first new soft drink in a while to fly the Pepsi banner.
What are we being
And
trained
it's
on?
new. Formulated to meet customer demands head on for a lighter, even more refreshing soft drink. Everything about Crystal.
Lighter in color. I don't think it was lighter in sugar. I don't remember clamoring for new
Pepsi?
New anything. Because we've seen this wave after wave after wave. Soda companies do it. Lay's did a big thing. Like for a solid 10 years, they were making wacky flavors or like you could write in flavors. All these gimmicks feel like, yeah, the public wanted a refreshing this or a new crispy that. When I want to go like, nah, not really. Like it just feels like some shareholder somewhere was like, what if we gave the power to the idiots who buy our shit? I guess, like, give them a
Worth a
voting
shot.
form.
We're already rich.
Yeah, but like that was also maybe I'm sure it'll come back again because everything comes in cycles. But that felt like a very strong thing in the 90s where like you just change a tiny little thing about it and you go, wow, brand new, bitch. Because Crystal Pepsi, I mean, realistically, what could they have changed? The color, I'm sure, was all artificially added after the fact at this point anyway.
Yeah.
Is new. From its new taste to its new packaging. It took 18 months and over 3,000 varieties until we refined the perfect taste for a clear cola.
Really?
Crystal Pepsi is a whole new beverage experience with a new flavor. It's not just a regular cola without the color.
Crystal
Isn't
Pepsi
it?
tastes to me like a more subtle cola. I think that's the best way to say it.
It doesn't taste like any other clear drinks that I've tasted. It's got a different taste.
It's not Sprite.
I think the idea that it's not caramel colored and it's clear.
It's nice they got Ernie Hudson for the third talking head segment here. But on the other side of that, too, like, don't fucking ask people dripping in Pepsi swag and surrounded by Pepsi promotional equipment to be like, what do you think about Pepsi, Mr. Pepsi trucker head who obviously works at Pepsi? Like, at least give us a veneer of, like, these aren't just, like, dyed-in-the-wool employees.
Yeah.
Makes it seem like it's a
Fucking
minor
Winston
drink.
here.
Crystal will appeal to the health-conscious consumer.
Will it?
With 100% natural flavors. No preservatives in regular or diet. And no artificial ingredients.
Really?
Crystal is low in sodium, has fewer calories, and it's caffeine-free.
Oh, lame.
It's a big
Still
hit for
maintain
people
Crystal
looking-
Pepsi tastes like equal parts of Sprite and RC Cola.
I have zero memory of what Crystal Pepsi tastes like. I can conjure up what a Coke and a Pepsi tastes like in my mind, but a Crystal Pepsi is lost to the ages.
For a carbonated
But, you know, everything old is new again, so I'm sure it'll come back.
Joe. I don't know if you know this, but
I don't know, Joe. The guy with the Pepsi hat didn't sell me yet. I think it still just tastes pretty much like Pepsi, except it's clear.
beverage that's light and uniquely refreshing.
Uniquely.
There's also
You've never been refreshed like this before. Don't you get it, you fucking idiot public? It's 1992. This isn't the 50s. Imagine buckling up and getting uniquely refreshed for the first time in your life. And you're about to. This is unique. That means there's only one. So bottle after bottle, each more unique than the last, yeah, it's an Uncola.
Diet Crystal for soft drink lovers looking for a soft drink.
I love a
that's even lower
soft
in
drink.
calories. Crystal's look is as distinctive as its taste.
It's clear.
With packaging as pleasing as the product itself.
I mean, you lightened the colors up a little bit and made the opaque part of the plastic wrapper translucent. I mean, let's not break our backs sucking ourselves off, Pepsi.
Mm-hmm. Crystal Pepsi's a...
Don't tell me that, Tony. Did it? Is it still back? No, I probably missed it. I'm going to have to wait another 10 years.
appearance is unique. It's got the blue base cup. It looks like a beautiful package.
You look at it, you have to look twice. It's
Ocean
wow,
spray.
That's a cola in there. I want to try that.
Crystal and Diet Crystal are packaged in plastic and glass, in clear bottles, in a variety
Crystal
of popular
Methny.
sizes. And in boldly designed new cans for
I
dispensing
mean,
in vendors
bold.
or packaged
What?
in 6 and 12 packs for supermarket shelves. The new look will invite consumers to taste Crystal. The unique flavor will get them to buy it again and again.
Like this woman, buying the same two bottles every day.
Crystal Pepsi is crystal clear. We've created a beverage that will re-energize the carbonated soft drink market. A
but
soft
not
drink that will
re-energize you
respond
because
to
it's caffeine free.
Look at this dude's fucking sweatband. He's got the Casio metal digital watch. Look at this windbreaker. Oh my God. This is definitely like a CVS Osco in the middle of America. Oh my God. What a throwback. Look at these, like,
Vinegar?
no, it's more Pepsi.
Oh.
But like they're those plastic ring container packs.
Consumer
Jesus
tastes.
Christ.
A soft drink that will bring increased sales and traffic to
Crystal Methny.
our customers.
Doing
and a
it.
soft drink that will make money for the
Dude.
company and our commissioned
Dude.
salespeople. Crystal Pepsi is creating a new beverage category all its own. That's why it's the perfect flagship product in the total beverage company.
Are we getting trained?
Crystal has done
I don't know. Like this, like here's the thing. Swap out Crystal Pepsi with any living, breathing, and or fictional person, and this is cult material. Like this is propaganda vinegar.
It looked like bottles of vinegar.
We can't keep it on the shelf. It sells. Everybody likes it.
It took the market by storm, and I don't think anybody.
And then it went away like the
ready for
McRib.
the amount of volume that it
I think it'll go as long as Zima at least.
There's competitors out there for Crystal that can compete with it.
In test markets, Crystal
Yeah, next they're gonna have that flesh-eating gator Pepsi,
has exceeded
crocodile
projections.
Pepsi.
But the real success of
Oh my God, just take in the aesthetic. Look at these beautiful old street lamp inspired like cashier lights.
It's like supermarket sweep.
Oh, look at the size of this register, the low res. Like that's not a monitor. Like there's a little couple of numbers up here. Whoa, look at those paper bags.
Paper or plastic.
All those lights. It's beautiful.
Crystal is certainly
like a
not
Stop
a
and
flash
Shop.
in the pan. It's a brand that people look for. It's a brand they ask for, and they're buying it again and again.
Isn't it weird? Like every bit of advertisement has to come across like this, right? Like it's no matter how new or ridiculous or arbitrary the product is, it has to be pushed as if it's the next like you will shit your pants if you got in the same room as this. Like the excitement is off the charts. And yeah, sometimes they stand the test of time, but even so, like, yeah, regular Pepsi and regular Coke are around and I'm sure are getting, levels of excitement akin to this day. But let's just keep in mind, it's like fizzy sugar water. And like these people are like, yeah, unique, brand new. Like, I'm surprised we haven't gotten to the point where he's saying it will cure diseases. Like, I want to see an old guy like with a big mustache and a 10-gallon hat with an arrow in it saying that it'll cure what ails me and ease my arthritic joints and lubricate my ligaments and shit.
Yeah. The grocery store that Joe used to work at looks like that grocery store.
Now, this is probably back east somewhere.
guarantees that it will be around for a long time.
Woof, what are those
We've
shorts?
captured new opportunities. We're doing it without
Fritos.
cutting into our
Hey, it's Darcy from Married with Children.
sales of the core four.
Boop.
Hey, wait, who owns Frito-Lay? PepsiCo? Interesting.
In our test markets,
Why buy a
we've
bunch
seen
of cans and
Oh.
also a bottle?
Real problem here, though. Look at that. Coke? Somebody his head's rolled for this ad.
core four.
Bullshit,
In our test
bullshit.
markets, we've seen
Blur that
Crystal
out.
build
Snickers.
overall market sales. And the excitement behind the launch creates
Look at
a
that
need for our
slice.
customers
No longer
to
a
give us
thing.
more display
Whoa, that's Ben
inventory.
Stein.
It's creating opportunities
He's trying to
for
take
our
his money.
customers and big opportunities for us. As customer representatives in the total beverage company,
Again, I ask, who is being shown this, and in what way are they going to motivate? Like, how do I say it? How are you going to not mobilize, but how are you going to employ this information?
Promote it. Yeah. Like,
Are we just supposed to be like, yeah, it's a really unique beverage, like as we're stocking in the Jewel Osco or whatever?
yeah.
Like, who is watching this? Like, is it for sales reps who are supposed to get? But then what can you say about a soda? It's clear. It's made by Pepsi. It's called Clear Pepsi. We've got 16 minutes to burn. Let's show some people talking about what clear is like.
we can help customers recognize the features and benefits of new Crystal Pepsi
Oh,
and Diet
benefits.
Crystal, and show them the sales potential they have on their shelves, in their cold boxes,
All right.
in their bins, and in their vendors.
Features and benefits. Let's hear
By
them.
increasing their sales, you increase your sales and profits as well.
I can almost smell what this, like grocery stores today don't smell like they used to for some reason. When I was a kid, the Fry's, the Smitty's, the Smiths, they all had a different smell, and it always carried with it, like it wasn't bad. I just associated it with the grocery store. There was always like the mixing of like the fresh baked bread and the seafood and all this other stuff that sort of comes together. Now everything is so big, and like even Fry's is like a Walmart because they'll have like a whole patio section.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't smell like you buy food there anymore. This
No.
place looks like it smells like it should, if
Yes.
that makes sense.
Crystal responds to consumer demand for variety and a lighter soft drink.
And, some people don't know what Sprite is, or Slice, our other product.
With its new look and new taste, Crystal is increasing traffic.
This is a real graph. A real graph right there. Crystal Pepsi literally took over the nation, just like this shows.
Yeah.
And increasing sales. And it's a product that says Pepsi, backed by advertising, point of purchase materials,
Boop, there
and
you go.
the talents and support of
We'll put it
Pepsi
next to the
people.
cat food, apparently.
As part of the Total Beverage Company, you'll make buying Crystal easier and more convenient than ever for your customer. You'll bring the commitment of Pepsi, the Total Beverage Company, that
Do you take Pepsi to be your lawfully wedded soft drink?
puts the customer first.
Right next to the shower puffs.
We'll be giving
Whoa, is that ladies matching outfit?
quality product and a variety that consumers are demanding. And
So
by
what's
doing
new with
so, we'll
Pepsi?
capture
Oh, well, we'll hear about this Crystal Pepsi. It's like regular Pepsi, but clear. No shit.
opportunities for ourselves as well.
I fucking love those
Crystal in your
stupid.
trucks will drive
It's like
sales in
an
your
episode of
stores.
Beekman's World.
Crystal will revitalize your carbonated soft
And
drink
this is
sales.
insane.
As a total beverage supplier,
What will
you'll
it?
be an
Crystal
indispensable
Bernard.
resource.
Somebody get me there. Like Crystal Pepsi did not last very long. There must be sales figures out there of how much Crystal Pepsi made over its lifetime. Somebody get me some time frames and some money.
Tony, looking
I
at
don't
you.
think it lasted long.
Crystal Pepsi and Diet Crystal are the perfect addition to Total Beverage. It gives us a clear advantage over the competition. No one
Clearly
else has
unique.
anything
So
like it.
is Total Beverage because PepsiCo owns Pepsi and Frito-Lay, and it's all the same company. Nestle is the same thing. So is this before it was all conglomerated? I wonder. Because the guys at Khalil, Crystal Pepsi lasted 2 years. Yikes. But the ginger ale people or RC Cola, they're barely hanging on, but they're still out there.
Tab.
Tab's, I think, dead for
The
a couple
future?
years now.
What?
It's
Yeah.
crystal clear.
Get it? I still have yet to learn anything
Look, it's crystal clear
aside from it being clear.
and it's real good. Tastes different.
Here we go. This will help. Idea Works, Boston. Hey there, kid. Boss some of this Pepsi on your chowder. Lobster. Is this it? Oh, there we go. Oh, here we go. Finally, features and benefits. I was wondering.
Situation number 1.
I'm thirsty, but don't want to drink something brown. Oh, I've got a feature that might benefit you.
Water.
No.
Pushing this new Crystal Pepsi. What makes it different from every other soft drink?
That's a good question.
It's clear. Stop tape.
If all the answers are given by a Pepsi rep and we're not going to get any of it because they weren't on the tape, I'm gonna be extremely upset.
You're really pushing this new Crystal Pepsi. What makes it different from every other soft drink?
Crystal Pepsi really is different from all other soft drinks. It's actually a crystal clear cola with 100% natural ingredients, no preservatives, no caffeine. That'll appeal to your health-conscious consumers. That'll make more sales for you and increase your profits.
I thought I was a consumer.
They're a marketer. A store looking to
What?
get it.
So presumably then you are giving this video to the owner of a local market and or manager, buying manager. This is weird. Wouldn't you already have a working relationship with Pepsi? And if they were hey, guess what? We've got a new thing. Do you want some? They'd just be like, yeah, we're fries.
So-
we're Smitties.
Tony wrote, quote, one of the biggest reasons for the soda's failure was the taste. It didn't taste like the original Pepsi. Another reason for its failure was poor marketing, as no real reason was given to consumers as to why they needed the product in their lives.
Right. And that's the thing. We're watching it IRL. There's no benefit to this because, no preservatives. What? Like, this just feels like it's just doing damage. Because you say, okay, Crystal Pepsi is everything that Pepsi isn't. Number one, no artificial this or that, all natural sweeteners, no this, no that, implying that all of these health conscious benefits that you as a healthy consumer want to gain by drinking Crystal Pepsi would be lost because regular Pepsi presumably has all of these things.
Right. Its first year captured 1 full percentage point of U.S. soft drink sales, $474 million. Only 1%.
Here's the thing. But like there are so many, right? Like there are root beers and citrus beverages and colas and punches and yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
So when you've got a million different flavors and a million different companies taking up and making each one of their own flavors, yeah, that probably doesn't seem like a great slice of that pie. But if all you have to, like, because they were saying, yeah, we would have spent 3 years on this formula for Crystal Pepsi and killed it in 2. Like, it's like not the cure for cancer, right? Like a soft drink is never going to take the world and light it on fire. So like, why not just treat it like that, Pepsi? Instead of throwing 3 years and billions of dollars into this space Crystal Pepsi with no preservatives that you need a videotape to extol the virtues and benefits of, just ease back production. Maybe it takes 5 or 10 years for you to figure out how to take the brown out of Pepsi. And just be like, hey, we make this too, and let it grow naturally and organically instead of being like, Crystal Pepsi, it's for your health.
Just do it. Ooh, number 2.
There's no brown.
I run a small independent grocery store. Who's drinking Crystal Pepsi?
Everyone.
Nobody. Stop the tape. Here, basically, it's nobody. Nobody's drinking this shit. It'll die soon.
Taking the world by storm.
Grocery store. Who's drinking Crystal Pepsi?
Crystal Pepsi really appeals to everyone at all ages, especially the health-conscious consumer, the consumer that's looking for an alternative beverage.
This is how confused we are as a society, right? Like, nobody knows what good, bad, or in-between health is. We go by buzzwords or what's printed on a package. So with these numbnuts like this slow dude being like, well, it's because the health-conscious people want to...
It's Honey Boo Boo's mom's brother.
We are literally extolling 0 reasons why it is more like geared toward the health conscious. It's not saying we like it, because it'd be one thing if they were extolling like, hey, we don't use X chemical that had a big long name that's scary that actually does nothing or whatever. Like, at least nowadays, I feel like commercials are going to be like, hey, here's what's healthy, high in protein, low in this. These are basically just claims of it's healthier. And then 4 minutes of silence. And then nobody asked how or why. And then we go, okay, I'll buy it for a year and a half.
Pepsi meets those consumers' needs because it has no caffeine. It also has low sodium and less calories than Pepsi. By carrying Crystal Pepsi in your store, you'll capture that customer, which will increase your sales and your profits.
Which is basically the same answer the previous situation gave.
Right.
Increasing sales and profits.
So, yeah, the features and benefits are the same every time. It's like, what are the benefits? Well, it's clear. And there's no caffeine. People will buy it. Great. Next guy. What if they don't buy it? Well, it's got no caffeine and it's clear, so people will buy it. Guess what the third person's going to say? Anybody want to hedge their bets? What is Crystal Pepsi?
How will you merchandise Crystal Pepsi?
We'll put it in bottles, and then we'll bring it to your store. People will buy it.
Clear bottles.
How will you merchandise Crystal Pepsi?
We found that where we test marketed Crystal Pepsi, we could hardly keep our shelves stocked. So what we did in order to prevent out of stocks was build some solo displays that actually prevent us from running out. And
What?
that will increase your sales and profits.
Sales and profits.
Okay, all of this just seems so like old timey to me. Like before modern advertising and everything that like the flow of information being as it is today, right? I can see the old-timey appeal of like putting a new product on a nice round table in the middle of your biggest aisle in the front of the grocery store to be like, hey, check it out. It's crackers that we left the rat poison out of this time. It's 1852. And so you go, great, my kids hate dying and I don't like getting sick from rat poison. So you go, I'll buy these, great. But now that, like, you know, even in the 90s, like we have TV and there's newspaper and radio ads, like there's never been an easier way to get word out up until that point. That predates the internet, which made it, you know, insanely, like, that much more easy. It's just weird to be like, yeah, how will I know that people know that Crystal Pepsi exists? I'm like, have you turned on a TV, bitch? Like, everybody knows what Coke is, right? How often do you see a Coke commercial? Still a lot? That's what we'll do. Or Pepsi.
Step 1, make Crystal Pepsi. Step 2,
fuckers. Profit.
Step 3, profit.
Fuck.
How will Crystal Pepsi help increase sales in my store?
I already told you.
We took out the caffeine, bitch. Listen,
Lower
I
sodium.
don't know what else you want to fucking hear.
It's fucking
How will
clear.
Crystal Pepsi help increase sales in my store?
We'll give you another
One of the nice
stand.
things about Crystal Pepsi is that it has a unique flavor.
It's health
What we found in our
conscious.
test markets was that 50% of the people who tried Crystal Pepsi came back to those same stores to buy it again. This repeat traffic means increased volume and increased profit for you.
We put meth in it.
But here's the thing though. Another problem with this is you're only stealing from yourself. Like you're saying, okay, there's this mysterious straw man audience wanting a clear beverage. False, right? But you say, okay, people want a clear beverage, but they don't want citrus. We've already made that decision, so we'll stick with the cola. And so if you already, like, 'cause here's the thing, like, it would just, even though everybody says it tastes different, a clear Pepsi would lead you to believe it would just taste like a Pepsi that's clear.
Mm-hmm.
So your market is you. Like, hey, what was it? You know, you guys like Pepsi, right? The people who love Pepsi, you love Pepsi. Here's something that also tastes like Pepsi, but it's clear. So it's not like you're saying, hey, we discovered what Coke tastes like and made it clear. It's not like here's a brand new thing. It's just like, I mean, even though they are pushing it hard as like a brand new thing, a cola is a cola. You take the brown out, you say you spend 3 years on it, you show me an eyedropper full of a clear liquid. Whoop-de shit.
Wait, did he say 50%? I don't know.
Yeah, which is bullshit, right? Like 50% turnaround, like 100 people have it, and 50% of those people will come back and buy more of it. I don't buy that shit for a second.
How's Crystal Pepsi done so far? Is it here to stay?
No, not good. Stop tape, please. Don't talk about this part.
How's Crystal Pepsi done so far? Is it here to stay?
Crystal has been very successful
God
in our
damn it.
test.
What, don't they have anybody in the warehouse who doesn't look like they got shot in the head with a BB gun that caused like severe brain damage? Like, Jesus, dudes.
50% of the people that have tried it have come back and tried it again. This means additional customer purchases and repeat business, and that generates profits.
50% of the people who have tried it came back to try it again.
Profits.
Presumably, people who already like Pepsi, so you're moving. I'm no marketing genius, and this might not be smart, but doesn't it sound smart? Like, a clear version of the thing you already make appeals to the people you already have as customers.
Yeah.
Like if the Ford Corporation were like, hey, you like the 150, right? The F-150, bitch? Guess what? We got an F-100. Chevy. Come over here and look at this shit. We hacked 50 off of our truck. What are you doing, fuckers? And they're like, the same shit we're always doing. Why would we do that? Crystal Pepsi was stupid.
I should have been an actor in the 90s, said Tony.
Why don't I have Crystal Pepsi in my store?
I'm really concerned that selling this new Crystal Pepsi could hurt the sales of my other soft drink brands, like brand Pepsi.
What?
Really? How do they deal with this conundrum, right? It sounds like it's logical.
I'm really concerned that selling this new Crystal Pepsi could
Look,
hurt the sales of my other
profit.
soft drink brands, like brand Pepsi.
Just throw that Faygo out in the
test markets
trash.
where we have Crystal Pepsi, Pepsi sales have actually increased. Crystal Pepsi builds traffic, which means you'll have extra sales and extra profits.
The 50% of the people who don't come back for the Crystal Pepsi point and laugh at how disgusting and temporary it is as they go back to their favorite regular Pepsi. Okay, finally. I love these. Number one, every objection depicted in any training is the least realistic interaction two humans have ever had. Let's see if it holds up.
Objection.
Okay, I'll put Crystal Pepsi into the section.
Objection.
But I have no more display space for another soft drink.
Help.
So what's the objection? Okay, I'll take Crystal Pepsi, but if somebody else comes after you, they're shit out of luck. That's not an objection, Pepsi. That's not an admission, but that's a fucking acceptance. Fine, we'll take Crystal Pepsi. But the next one...
Okay, I'll put Crystal
not.
Pepsi into the section. But I have no more display space for another soft drink.
I realize that the space is an issue, but Crystal Pepsi is providing a terrific return in the test markets. We've found that the retailers that we've worked with have actually wanted the extra displays just to avoid running out. So in turn, I think that the extra space will mean extra profits.
That was not an answer to any question.
No. Are they giving him extra space in a store?
If I didn't know any better, I'd say this was like generated by AI. But it's 1992.
Okay, you've convinced me. You can put your Crystal Pepsi display in place of the Pepsi display.
Not an objection either.
Heckling objections was what this segment was called, people. But hey, here's the thing. I can't, we had a little bit of training material when I worked at a Ford dealership. And it was always the same bullshit, non-realistic. Like, you'd watch a video and it would be like a dapper salesman, like old couple looking to buy an Explorer, right? And they go, well, I like the color and I like the power and I like the room, but the cup holder is blah, 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 blah. And the salesman's always like, well, is that really an issue? And the old couple goes, no, I love it. And they buy it. This is not how shit works. Like, I had people nitpick me over the fucking smallest shit.
Yeah.
Never did I receive any training on how to deal with any real life situation. It was always like this, a non-objection or a partial objection that when any scrutiny is applied to it, the customer folds like a stricken dog, pisses themselves, buys the thing they were already intending to buy, and then two more things beyond that because you were so good at handling that objection.
The way she glances over at her cue card really sold me on
Crystal
Crystal
Pepsi
Pepsi.
display in place of the Pepsi display.
You know, I understand that your display space is at a premium in your store. However, we found that where we've sold Crystal Pepsi in the past, the brand Pepsi sales have actually gone up, meaning incremental sales to you and higher profits.
Check it out, bitch. The conversation is over. Quit selling a sold car. I said you can set it up. Get your fucking dolly.
Well, no, he doesn't want to set it up in replacement of the brand of the regular Pepsi. He wants to add a space.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's no objection. He said, do it. The dude's like, great, I'm gonna do it. And the reason I'm going to do it was the aforementioned reasons we've already fucking gone over. These aren't objections. Imagine being on trial. You're on trial for murder and your defense lawyer's like, objection. He did do it. And he sits back down and folds his hands like this. That's this video. Objection. I'll take
go along
it.
with your entire proposal, except that thing about the cold barrel. I really don't have any room for it.
This $42,000 Lincoln Navigator, I love it. I'll take it. But I'm not paying the extra $20 to you to tint those windows. What an objection. My God. How is this person going to deal with such a crippling blow? Audience?
I'll go along with your entire proposal.
Ah! The worst thing to hear is a salesman, right?
Except that thing about the cold barrel.
Poof! Oh! Crippling blow. Pepsi never recovered. That's why there's no Crystal Pepsi. This bitch said no to the cold barrel.
I really don't have any room for it.
Space is a concern, and I realize that that's true in all your stores. However, by having a cold barrel by your cash register, you'll be catching all those people on the go. We've seen that.
You know, those young types moving here or there, getting in and out of cars. Oftentimes those cars being convertibles. It's the 90s.
Happen with other accounts who have cold barrels by their cashiers. They've ordered 15 to 20 incremental cases a week, and that means more profits and more sales for you.
Did you notice how the objection wasn't overcome? At the end, she didn't go, fine, put a fucking cold barrel. The objection stood.
We'll see what the next area says.
What are we being trained on?
It's
how to deal with completely agreeable people?
It's how to try and convince them to do the things that they said they didn't want to do.
They're doing it! And are not changing their minds.
The lunch crowd usually just runs in and grabs a sandwich and they're on their way. I really don't see how a cold barrel is going to do any good.
This cold barrel's a big deal.
As I was telling your stupid bitch coworker, bitch, when your idiot customers come in to get the sandwich, they're going to run, guess where? The cash register. What's going to be there? A barrel of ice cold fucking Crystal Pepsi. Now shut the fuck up and let me roll this barrel in and we'll get this done.
We have so many barrels we need to get rid of.
Fuck. Give me that fucking root beer barrel from Barks. I'm going to burn it in the back. And you've got yourself another, 3 new cold barrels for Crystal Pepsi. You're welcome. He breaks his taillights as he leaves.
The lunch crowd usually just
Crystal
runs
Pepsi.
in and grabs a sandwich and they're on their way. I really don't see how a cold barrel is going to do any good.
I realize your concern over putting a cold barrel in your deli. However, soft drinks and sandwiches are a natural link.
Yeah,
if they're
duh.
coming in to grab a sandwich, they're going to want to get something to drink.
You know, that's weird. Most people do come back the next day complaining of how thirsty they are. Huh. I don't know. I'm just a store owner. You're the Pepsi guy.
It makes sense for you to put that cold barrel right by the deli. That way you can increase your sandwich sales and your soft drink sales, which leads to more profits.
So I'm thinking 6 or 7 cold barrels right by the deli, right? We put another 4 by the bakery, 3 by the bathrooms, 1 at the beginning at every register, and then 1 at the end. So if they do get to the end, realize that they made a horrible mistake, they can reach into that last cold barrel, turn around, and pay the cashier for that sweet 75 cents on the way out the door. Successfully sealing the deal for Crystal Pepsi to become the next slice.
Look at this background. Okay, the Pepsi, the S and the I, 2 different sizes.
That's
and
a
then
5. That's Pep 51.
Pep 51. And is that a sink behind the guy?
Yeah, he's going. It's like a table. That's a napkin holder, and they're going to Wapole.
Naples.
This is the worst training I've ever received.
Kayla wants a cold barrel, though.
I can go to the Facebook Marketplace. Like, not for nothing. In the early 2000s, I'm sure up till now, they're fucking everywhere. My parents had one. They just repainted it, and then every time they had a party, that's it. Just paint it with a Mountain Dew. It worked.
Times are tough now. I just don't think Crystal will sell in my store.
A real objection, but
you
not
just
really.
You just said in the last thing that they sold you.
I love everything about it. I'll take everything but the cold barrel. Are you sure you don't want the cold barrel? No, now I don't want a fucking thing. Please leave.
Times are tough now. I just don't think Crystal
It's
will sell in my
1992. Times are not tough right
I
now.
realize that you're concerned that people won't be interested in new Crystal Pepsi. However, we've got a hot advertising campaign coming out on
Hot.
Crystal. That's going to draw customers into your store. And you can tap into that.
Profits.
Increase sales and profit.
That doesn't. What is it?
That's the thing. We, out of all these features, benefits, and objections, I don't think we've seen any of those three things emerge.
No. There's so many
You
situations.
say Crystal Pepsi has a 2% market share? That's not big enough for me to worry about.
It actually had one. And again, P.S., like, who gives... In a world where it's split between 5 different choices, right? I get that. Like, market share is probably huge. Cell phone carriers being one. There's like 4 of them out there. Some of them are owned by the others, so it's like, who cares, right? But like soda, you got flavors and companies that run the gamut. So I'd be like, oh, the market, what the fuck? You have a whole store to run.
Yeah.
You've got a meat department. You've got a bakery, a deli. You've got fresh produce. How much time are you going to be like, well, 2% isn't enough for Crystal Pepsi of a market share, blah, blah. Oh, the roast beef.
Joe says, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we found that placing a cold barrel of Crystal Pepsi next to the jurors box led to a 75% increase in jurors who didn't think that my client robbed that bank.
Yeah, that was an 80% increase in juror refreshment. And that, was not objected against.
Crystal Pepsi has a 2% market share? That's not big enough for me to worry about.
Seriously.
2% seems small, but 2% represents the sale of all your niche brands in your store presently.
Niche.
Crystal will mean incremental sales and more profits to you.
But here's the thing. Niche is like those specialty sodas that they sell like at room temperature in glass bottles.
Like those Jones ones.
Yeah, like Jones or like all the little mom and pop type ones that are like grape or actual cola or orange or all those with cherry and all that other stuff. Like that's a niche market. Like Pepsi puts out something without brown in it and they go, oh boy, what a fucking experience. A boutique, bespoke, highly individually crafted experience from one of the largest manufacturers of carbonated beverages in the world.
Yep.
Really makes you go,
they're bougie.
You know what? I was feeling insignificant, but Pepsi cares. Going to end it all. But then Pepsi was like, Crystal Pepsi? I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's the end of the video.
Go another year. How not to suck at. Well, there you go.
But there was no...
We did it. We didn't learn anything, obviously. But, about Pepsi.
Look,
we definitely learned
sales and profits. Every situation ended in sales and profits in this.
I don't think we learned a single thing. I personally did not take away a single piece of hard, actionable advice from either the Jack in the Box or the Crystal Pepsi material.
Quality. No.
But then they said quality is like service, and service is quality. So it's like, okay, if we got the yin yang of the service and the quality, what was the third thing? Cleanliness? That doesn't exist on this wheel. I don't know. I just feel like, again, since it's the 80s, maybe that is no excuse because Hardee's had that shit on lock.
Yeah.
Hardee's knew how to I could probably walk into a Hardee's right now and be like, guess what? I'm ready.
I watched the training video from 1980 something.
I have no confidence in working at Jack in the Box right now. And I legitimately, from person to person, I do not feel like I could work at a Jack in the Box. But a Hardee's I could probably swing. And if you asked me to sell Crystal Pepsi, I probably couldn't do that either.
As long as you say sales and profits at the end of your sentence, I think you're probably good.
Listen, this is for the health-conscious sales profits of a cold barrel.
Yeah.
You can't not...
50% of the people that...
Ray Charles doesn't know. He's blind. He chose the right one, baby, and it's Crystal Pepsi. Jesus. All right, so there's that. I am really let down. I thought that we would have a higher standard of information from Jack in the Box. It was the right time frame. Just couldn't pull it together like Hardee's did, and I apologize to you, the viewer, for that. You came here expecting to learn a new skill and came away with nothing except propaganda about Crystal Pepsi.
Sales.
Possibly Jack in the Box. What a letdown. I hope that Crystal Pepsi thing was worth it, though, Kayla, because it's never coming up again. They're never bringing it back. 2% is not enough of the market share. Jesus.
And yes, Facebook Marketplace has cold barrels.
Yeah, I guarantee. They made them by the billions, and now, like, it's one of those things. There's certain products that do not enter the public sphere that when they do finally age out of commercial or industrial use, end up in a certain type of person's house. I'll leave that to your imagination, but a cold barrel is one of those things.
Yeah.
That once it leaves public use, it becomes an object of a very specific flavor of human beings' ownership.
Yes.
Yeah, so next week, Kayla, obviously we'll be doing nothing but watching the Crystal Pepsi material 3 times in a row so we can really nail down how to work at PepsiCo. Oh my God, 2%. How much does RC Cola get? They always take shit, and I love them. But I also love a good underdog story. So sue me. So next week, here's what's probably going to happen. We'll do a little more true crime. I've gotten a lot of requests and buzz about the Joel Guy Jr. case. So there's no, or at least to my knowledge, there's no released interrogation footage. So we're probably going to be going over the prosecutor's closing arguments, which will go over basically all the testimony and evidence in like... The closing arguments are basically the only thing as a casual observer that you would ever really want. Like as a jury, you'd have to sit there and see all the testimony and all the experts. But if you're a fool like me just dropping in, watch the closing arguments of the prosecution and the defense, because the prosecution will hit all the greatest hits of the case. The defense will do what they do. And in this case, it'll be like, we're pretty sure you shouldn't kill him. That's Joel Guy Jr. Ta-da! And then they'll sit back down.
The end.
We appreciate your time. That poor old man. Jesus Christ. Imagine like being a public defender and then getting the Joel Guy Jr. case thrown in your lap. And you go, okay, body's upstairs, head in a pot. Kid definitely did it. There's an evidence trail that spans 2 states.
I'm 1 case before retirement.
Yeah, that guy's 1 case before he turns into bone dust. So close. He's like, oh, that poor man. Just like, I'm sure he's like probably works in one of those old timey offices because this was like in Tennessee and like Louisiana, I think. One of those old offices with like this pneumatic tubes where like they bring in the case and just like tube after tube after tube, just chock full of the evidence, like for this fucking Joel Guy Jr. slob with his puffy jaw. And he's just like, then he goes, that's our case. Good night. The Book of Premeditation. Fuck, that really hurts our case. Try not to think about that. This is Joel Guy Jr. He doesn't look gross when you give him a haircut. Kind of.
He probably maybe didn't do it.
Oh, so sad. Anyway, yeah, so we'll do that next week. Thank you guys for showing up and taking part in all of this. It's super fun. We're now a little smarter, hopefully, or I hope we were. We technically aren't. But next time we'll try. All right, guys. Thanks for showing up. We'll see you next week. This has been FFOP Radio and all other good shit. Bye.
Bye.
For the try to
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.